When you think about B2B email marketing, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably hitting send on a massive list, right? Or maybe scheduling a few follow-ups. For most of us, it's just a bunch of actions we take. But what if that's the wrong way to look at it entirely? What if we're not just sending messages, but actually building a machine? So let's just start with this question right here. Is your email strategy just a set of disconnected tasks, or is it a real, constructive process where every single part is designed to build on the last one? The difference between those two approaches is huge. It's a difference between getting unpredictable, kind of random results and building a reliable, steady pipeline. So how do we start building? Let's dive in. The main idea we're going to unpack today is this. B2B email isn't just marketing. It's more like engineering. It's a controlled system. Think of it as a lead generation machine, where every single component has a very specific job. It's all about aligning your audience, your message, and your timing with total precision to create a predictable output. And that output? Qualified opportunities.
Okay, so every great machine starts with a detailed blueprint, right? Well, for our email system, that blueprint is smart segmentation. And this isn't just about, splitting up a list. It's about defining the exact day-to-day reality of the person you're trying to reach. Honestly, this step alone pretty much determines whether your message gets read or just instantly deleted.
Now, a proper blueprint goes deep. We're moving way beyond simple job titles here. We're thinking about their industry-specific regulations, their company's revenue, and, this is a big one, where they actually are in the buying process. Each one of these is another layer of context that makes our messaging so much sharper and more relevant. And this is exactly why that one-size-fits-all approach is just doomed to fail. A CFO and a COO live in completely different worlds. They have totally different priorities. Your blueprint, your segmentation, is what allows you to talk to the finance leader about risk and then turn around and talk to the operations leader about efficiency. Without it, you're just making noise. Okay, so with our blueprint all drafted, it's time to actually build the assembly line. This is your email workflow, your sequence. It's the structured path that you create to move a prospect from, say, not even knowing you exist, all the way to becoming a qualified, engaged lead. This table lays out a pretty standard assembly line, but look closely. Notice how each stage has a totally distinct job and message focus. We kick things off by establishing relevance, then we reinforce the value, and then we address their resistance. It's a logical progression. It's not just a series of those lazy just checking in emails. Every single message has to build on the last one. And here we can really see this assembly line as a dynamic process. The key word is progression. You can't just repeat your initial pitch 5 times and hope for the best. Each email needs to introduce a new piece of information or a new angle, systematically moving that conversation forward, just like a product moving down an actual assembly line. And of course, the speed of that assembly line matters. A lot. The source material is really clear on this. A cadence of about 2 to 4 days between emails hits that sweet spot. It keeps you top of mind without becoming annoying. That consistency is what maintains the cumulative impact of the entire sequence. So we have a blueprint and we have a functioning assembly line. But, a machine can't run without power. In our system, the fuel is the message itself. The actual words you use, the problems you solve, and the outcomes you promise, that's what powers this whole engine. High-performance fuel isn't vague, it's super refined. According to the source, your message has to, within the first 2 sentences, reference a problem the recipient actually recognizes, define it clearly, and then propose a measurable improvement. Anything less than that, and you're basically just using low-grade fuel that's going to make the engine sputter. This brings us to a really crucial point about personalization. You see, superficial personalization, like just using someone's first name, that's cheap fuel. It can even hurt your credibility. But contextual personalization, where you reference their industry's challenges or their company's latest news, well, that signals competence. It shows you've actually done your homework and you understand their world. Finally, no engineered system is complete without a control panel. This is your quality control. It's the metrics you watch to make sure the machine is running correctly and to spot any structural failures before they cause a total breakdown. These are the dials on your control panel. And forget about those vanity metrics like open rates for a second. They're really only directional. We're focused on the real conversion signals. How many people are actually replying? Of those, how many responses are positive? And ultimately, how many are turning into real opportunities? This is the data that truly matters. So if you only track one metric, make it the reply rate. It is the single most reliable indicator that your message is hitting home. A reply, even if it's a no thanks, means your blueprint, your assembly line, and your fuel are all working together to get a response. It's your system's heartbeat.
When the machine isn't working, it's almost always because of one of these structural failures. And notice how they all link back to everything we've talked about. A weak blueprint leads to generic messaging, a faulty assembly line has no real progression, and low-quality fuel gives you a weak call to action. It all connects. And that leads to this critical takeaway. When your performance is tanking, just tweaking a subject line isn't going to cut it. You don't just polish a broken part, right? You have to go back to the blueprint and re-engineer the system itself. It requires a fundamental structural fix. So we'll end by turning this whole idea back to you. Take a really hard look at your own email outreach. Is it a well-oiled machine with a clear blueprint, a logical assembly line, and high-performance fuel? Or is it just a collection of disconnected parts, kind of hoping to stumble into a good result? The answer to that question will define your success.